Alright, we are just going to go ahead and pick up where we left off here in Code Combat and see if we can make some progress and see if we can do so a little bit more smoothly than we did the last time. So the arrow is suggesting that we start here. Let's go ahead and start here. So all we're doing is we're keeping out of sight of the Ogre Patrol. We're going to make use of basic syntax in this lesson. So let's go ahead and begin.
Code Combat.
Okay. Alright, so we do have a couple of guys here. It does say that I have to survive, which kind of suggests that, I might have to do some fighting of these guys over here. So let's go ahead and begin. Let's see, I don't have a name. I don't have a name for these guys, and of course if you're going to use the attack, you need to know who they are. Let's see if we can just kind of trial and error our way through this and see how far we get. Alright, we'll start with a move down. Seems kind of obvious. It's going to put us here. And then we're going to go ahead and move to the right. We want to move to the right twice in order to get the gem. Let's see what happens. Okay, well, we made it. The only problem is that, we got these guys attacking us, and although we managed to live, we still have them attacking us, so I think I'll call it done, and we'll move on. It's not a terrific victory, but it's a victory, and I'll take it. Let's see if we can actually get some more significant challenges moving forward. Next place to go is here. And this time we've got two hallways, but we've got one solution. Timing is of the essence, it says. We'll be making use of the basic syntax that you're probably already familiar with. So it sounds like we'll actually be working with mostly just the puzzle here. And it'll be less about the code and more about just getting through and solving that problem. Alright, let's see. What are our goals here? We have to basically just grab the gem, it seems. It doesn't look like we have to get out of there. We have to grab the gem. We have to live, too. So let's see. I don't see any new commands that we'll be using over here. We've got the shield, which we've encountered before. We've got, obviously, all of the movement commands. The ability to move up and move right. Of course, you can move left and move down. You've got the war cry. According to the documentation, this lets out a war cry that lets your allied people know that within... oh, I see. This is actually pretty specific. And then down here you've got the shield, which protects you from damage when you're being attacked by an enemy. I don't see anything here that's really going to help us, so let's just go ahead and, just like the last time, use trial and error and see what we can do. So we're going to try to move right first, which will bring us there. And we want to move right again to grab the gem. What's that do for us? Oh, they see me. They're, of course, coming after me now. Alright, so my suspicion is that because I'm armored up here, I'm not dying. I probably would die otherwise. So before I say done, I'm going to try a couple of things. Let me... I don't know if I have anybody that I can attack. It's my only concern. And it doesn't actually show attack as being one of the available commands here that I'll be using here in my toolkit, so I'm not too sure. So what I might do, just to make sure that I'm kind of going down the right path, is I might just go ahead and click on the help tutorial. Let me do that now, and I'll jump ahead and just give you some reassurance before we move on. So we know that we don't have the attack command yet, because we don't see it down here in our tool chest, like I was saying. But we also don't have other things that we need to enable us to kind of wait out the bad guys. And that's what the tutorial is telling us. It's saying, when you sort of don't have all of the things that you need, you need to improvise. So what we're seeing when we kind of play it back is that we need to find a way to kind of get our guy to wait right here, but we don't have the available commands to do that. So what we do to sort of improvise is we first say, let's go ahead and move right. After that, we'll move left again. That'll take us right back to where we started. Then, we'll move right again, but twice. So what this should do is it should move us forward, along with the bad guys. But then instead of continuing forward, we move back to the beginning point while the bad guys move beyond this point and allow us to kind of continue here without being seen. Once we move left back to the originating point, we can then move right 2 times to grab the gem. This time we should be able to do it without getting beat up by the bad guys. Let's try. Oh, they see me. They see me, but it's too late. I got the gem. Anyway, so that's kind of it. And I guess that's really the point of the lesson, is saying, look, you may have an idea of what you want to do in code sometimes, but perhaps the language or the API itself doesn't allow it. And sometimes you have to use code to sort of improvise. So I think that's really the point of the lesson in this particular one. Let's go ahead and move on and see what else we've got here. Okay, so I'm collecting my experience points and my gems like always. I'll go ahead and continue, and we'll see where it recommends we go from here. We're going to the next stage, which is called Enemy Mine. This time we'll be using basic syntax as well as arguments in the methods that we're using. And I'll call those out specifically as we encounter them so that you know what that means. Let's go ahead and start. So nothing new here. I've got all the same stuff as before. I'll just go ahead and play.
Code combat.
Okay, this looks pretty serious. Alright, let's see what our objectives are here. We are going to need to avoid the fire traps. We need to lure the ogre to its doom and then grab the gem. Okay. Well, as far as luring the ogre to his doom, I suspect that when he actually sees us, he'll start walking towards us. And I don't think that he'll avoid these fire traps like we're going to do. So it may be relatively simple. We'll see. So the first thing that it has us do is it has us move right. Now if you look over here at the code, we mentioned that arguments are going to be used in these methods. So you see the single invocation of the move right function or method, and it takes a single argument of 3. And what that means is it's asking the character to move right 3 times. So without explicitly calling out move right 3 times, like this, it's making use of an argument to tell it to do that 3 times without actually writing out 3 different expressions. So that's what that is. So let's take a look at where we are. This move right with the argument of 3 gets us to this point right here. I think we want to move up, and then we want to move right again. It's possible that by the time we get here or even here, the ogre will see us and he'll start chasing us. So here's what we'll do. We'll say let's move up and then let's move right. So we'll move up and then we'll move right. Then we'll want to move down 3 times. To do that, we'll make use of arguments and specify a 3. That should bring us here. And then we'll want to move to the right twice to get the gem. Let's try that. Alright, bad guy sees us. Oh, he got hit by the fire trap. Looks like we're good to go. So in this particular lesson, we not only use the commands that we're used to using, but we also specified arguments in them as well. And you can see that it kind of makes the code a little bit more abbreviated, which is a good thing. We had another victory, of course. We're going to get our experience points, we're going to get our gems, and then we're going to move on. We'll take a look at this map, and the map is going to recommend where to move next. We'll go ahead and take their advice, and we'll get started. Again, basic syntax here, and we'll be using arguments. We need to distract the guards, and then escape. It doesn't look like I have anything new that I need to equip or worry about, so I'll just go ahead and press play.
Code combat.
Okay, the level is ready to go. We will give it a shot. Let's see what we have. Looks like we got 3 guys down here. I'm not certain what this is down here. Let's wait and see what our objectives are and get a better sense of what's going on. Let's see what we've got. We need to distract the guards. We need to grab the gem. Do we have any sort of a clue beyond that? I guess not. I guess not. So we'll have to kind of just go through this ourselves and see if we can figure out what's going on. Let me bring this back. So let's have a look at our map. This is the gem ultimately that we need to get. This is kind of our end game here. We've got these guys just milling around. We know that they're going to come after us when they see us. There's something unique about this. I'm not sure what that is. We've got this X. I'm not sure if they're telling us this is something that we need to make sure that we get to, or if this is something that we need to avoid. So it says to use the decoy to distract the guards by stepping on the X. Okay, so I'm glad that we're looking over here. If you look at the notes here in the code editing tool, it's telling us that this decoy is going to distract the guards, and we activate it by going to the X. So that's good to know. So my suspicion is that if we go ahead and move over here, and then move all the way down and step on the X, that will activate this device here. It will most likely draw the attention of the guards over here, draw them down here, which would allow me to come back up and over to complete the level. That's what I'm guessing. We'll go ahead and we'll try it. We're going to move right once. We're going to move down. I think that's twice. So let's go ahead and make use of arguments again to move down twice. That'll put us on the X, I hope. We'll move back up twice. Let me include that argument. And what that will do, that should bring us right back up to here. Then we simply want to just move all the way over until we get here. Now, I don't see these spaces here, so I'm not 100% sure how many times I need to move to the right. Let's just say move right, and we'll give it a guess. We'll say maybe 4 times. Let's try that. Alright, that puts us on the X. Now the device is activated. The guards are going nuts. They're trying to beat it up, and to no avail. I'm able to kind of undetected grab that gem and be good to go. I had success, so that's good. By kind of looking around the screen and understanding exactly what the objectives were and what all these things mean, we were able to get enough details and information to complete this level and be successful. That's a good thing. So I'll say that I'm done here. And I'll take my experience points. I'll grab those gems, and I will continue. Okay, now we're hopping way over here on the other side of the map. Things are probably going to get a little bit more difficult. The last time I was doing this, being on this portion of the map, was pretty challenging for me. I stumbled plenty of times, so we want to make sure that this time that as we go through this, that we're attentive to what's going on, that we read everything that's in front of us, and of course, if we get backed up into a corner, we need to be willing to click that help button, look at those tutorials, and make sure that we understand exactly what we need to do. So let's go ahead and press play. We understand that we're going to be working with basic syntax. This is new. We're going to be working with loops. It says, if at first you go astray, change your loop to find the way. Interesting. That's a bit of a hint. It sounds like we're going to be working with loops. So we've got something to equip here. We'll go ahead and equip that. And we want to make sure we equip a sword, too. I don't want to go in there unarmed, and I'll press play.
Code combat.
Looks like we get a bonus if we keep it under 7 statements, so that'll be something for us to keep in mind. We'll go ahead and start, and let's see what we've got. Lots of gems here that we got to pick up. Lots of gems. Looks like they've already written some code for us. What do we have going on over here? I can never get there, he says. Oh, interesting.
Read the sample code to understand how loops work.
Okay, so it's advising
Get
us.
through the maze.
It's advising us to take a look at the sample code to get an understanding of how loops work. So it looks like a loop works by first specifying a loop and then using a colon and then indenting. Everything that falls underneath the loop that is indented happens repeatedly. So let's go back over here. Let's see what's going on. I see. So he says there's a... So, okay. So he's starting a loop because you move right and then move down and then move right and then move down. But of course, you get to this point, you can't move right and move down anymore. That's interesting. That loop, to me, doesn't seem like it's going to work. Move right, move down, move right, move down. You can't keep looping. It just won't work. He even tells you that. He says, I can't get there. So, what do? Move right, move down, move right. Let's change it up a little bit. We're going to just say that, hey, he's giving us some sample code here. We don't necessarily have to use this. We'll start from the beginning. Here's what I want to do. Locked, it says. Locked. Locked. This has me a little bit lost, so I'm going to ask for help. Alright, so we're back now. We've just taken a look at the tutorial, and this is going to give us a little bit of an idea of what's going on. So the fact that they've kind of got us down here threw me for a bit of a loop. Not, I mean, it's a terrible pun, but you get what I'm saying. This had me a little bit confused. So this is just their sample code. This is not necessarily how we want our loop to be. In fact, what we want to do is see if we can navigate to the first gem. Navigating to the first gem suggests that we can actually get through and leverage a loop because the passageway is pretty much the same. In fact, it's repeatable, and anything is repeatable can take advantage of a loop. So what we want to do is just get our character from his point right here over to right here, and then let the loop take over from there. So we'll use the commands underneath the loop to do everything that we need to do to get to this point, and then trust that by having it on a loop, it will just take it through the repeatable pattern once again. So here's what we're going to do. We can't delete this. We will instead just change it. So we want to move right, and then we want to move down, which they have. But then we want to expand on this and say, now move right. But do that 3 times. So we move right, then down, and then right 2 times. Let me correct that. That brings us to this point. Then we move up 1 time. And then that should be the end of our loop. So ideally, if we run this now, it will execute those commands that we've got, which is move right, move down, move right twice, and then move up. That concludes the loop, and then that concludes that iteration of the loop, and then the loop begins again with move right, move down, move right twice, and then move up. So let's go ahead and run it and see if looping those commands gets us through to the end of the level. So far it's looking good. We got our gem. We're now moving down. We're now in the second iteration of the loop. We got another gem. We're now in a third iteration of the loop, so we're moving down. We move right twice, and then we move up. And then we move to the right. Of course, it can't continue the loop at this point, but it doesn't matter. We've already completed all the goals of this particular level, and we're ready to move on. So, the lesson, of course, here is when you get backed up into a corner like this and you don't know what to do, make sure you click on that help button. It certainly helped me. We can now click done. We can collect all of our experience points. We can collect our gems, which we're happy to take. All of our bonuses as well. This is all good stuff. And now we can continue and move on to the next level. It's recommending that we start here. We will take their advice, and that's where we will go. So, this is a maze constructed to confuse travelers. Makes use of basic syntax and loops. Hey, anything that's going to confuse people, I'm definitely in. Alright, let's do this. So, we've got our hero. It doesn't look like we have anything new, so we can go ahead and proceed with play. We have to survive, we have to navigate the maze, and we get a bonus if we do this under 6 statements. So, of course, that suggests that we'll be leveraging loops once again. Let's go ahead and start and see if it's obvious With the understanding that, of course, if we need to hit that help button again, then that's certainly what we should do. Now, one of the things that we can do to get a better sense of what needs to happen is we can zoom out and get just a better overview of what's going on entirely around us. So the loop that they've given to us by default is executing now, and he's permanently standing in this wall. Now he can't get past there. He's complaining about not being able to move forward. So we know that we've got some work to do.
Understand how loops work.
Okay, so they're telling us make sure you understand loops.
Use a loop to get through the maze.
The loop is going to help us through. We understand that. If you look at the maze, what you want to see is a repeatable pattern. So let's go ahead. We'll just back it up a little bit. That way we can kind of see what's going on here. So we know that we end up starting at this point right here. That's our beginning point. So we want to end here, grabbing the gems along the way. So we need to understand what the repeatable pattern is and make sure that we put that repeatable pattern in a loop. So we start at this point, and we're going to move right twice. We then move up twice. We then move right twice and up twice, right twice and up twice. So basically, we want to move right. Oh, it locked, really? I'm trying to make use of arguments, but it's not letting me do that. That's okay. We'll use arguments in the next command. So here's what we want to do. We want to move right 2 times. And we want to move up also 2 times. And that is our loop. That's all I'm going to do. So let's see if it's really that simple and run it and see what happens. Let's go. Moves right twice, moves up twice. He should now move right twice. This is now the second iteration of the loop. Now he's going to go up twice. He's going to grab that gem. The loop starts over again. We're going to be moving right twice and then up twice. Did we do it? It looks like we did. We survived the maze. We navigated everything cool. We had no code issues, and we did it under 6 statements. In fact, we did it in 3 if you ignore the loop command. We're in good shape. We can say that we are done. We can collect our experience points and our gems, and of course, bask in the glow of victory because we got our bonus as well. So let's go ahead and continue and see what we've got next. We'll do one more before we call it a day on this particular video. And let's go here. We are going to just navigate the maze. Oh, we're going to navigate a maze the hard way using basic syntax, it says. So let's go ahead and press play. Let's see, do we have to... It doesn't look like there's anything that we need to make sure that we equip. We're just going to go ahead and play with everything that we've got on hand. We are navigating the maze the hard way, it says. That suggests that we won't be actually using loops. We'll see. Alright, we've seen this one before. This is a long maze, it says. You'll have to repeat the above steps 2 more times to get to the end of the maze. So we're really going to do exactly what we just did, but the difference is we aren't going to be able to leverage the loop in this one. We instead have to type it all out manually. Of course, I'm making use of cut and paste, but if you take a look at the code that I've got here, if you recall, I had 3 statements in the last one. I had that loop, and then under that loop I had move right, which was expressed twice. Then I had move up, which was expressed once, but with an argument of 2. I actually had 3 expressions in the last one. In this particular case, we're not leveraging loops. We've got all of this typed out by hand. So we move right twice, then we move up twice, we move right, then we move up, we move right, we move up. I'll take out some of the spaces just so you can see. What you've actually got here, if you ignore the first line, which is a comment, is you've got 12 lines of code versus the 3 that we had the last time. So this gives you an idea of why loops are important. It helps you conduct a series of tasks that are repeated without having to do all of this code by hand. It makes your code a lot brief, and it helps you do repeatable operations with greater ease. Let's go ahead and run, and we should see that it's going to do exactly the same thing as last time. Let's see if I can zoom out a little bit. We're moving right. We're going to move up twice, and all of that was manual. And we're good to go. So we did exactly what we were expected to do. We navigated the maze, but we did so manually. It took a lot more code than the last time because we didn't have loops at our disposal like we did the last time. So you can see loops are pretty important. We're going to go ahead and say done, and we're going to click that continue button and accept our gems and our experience points. So there's plenty to do here in Code Combat. I'm going to definitely continue this a little bit more, and we're also going to try some of these other worlds because we know that there's a lot more coding concepts and other things that we can learn thanks to the Code Combat web tool. So go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to see more, and you'll get some alerts when these things come out. If you like this video and you'd like to know more about Code Combat, please go ahead and leave me a like. Leave me some comments if there's something that you need some clarification on. If there's something that you specifically want to see in Code Combat, I'm happy to do that. I appreciate you watching, and of course I will see you in the next video.